All right. Well, hello, Oak Grove. I told you last week that we were going to get to know our church planners. This is Bracken with Hope Church Robinson. And I was just going to ask them a couple of questions so that we can get to know them and the work over there. All right. So, first question, Bracken, tell us who you are, tell us about your family, and how long you've been in ministry.
Yeah, so first, thank you guys so much. We just are overjoyed with the support. And it's great to be talking to you, Oak Grove. So, yeah, my name's Bracken Arnhart. I'm the pastor at Hope Church in Robinson, Texas. My beautiful wife, Katie, and I met at Grace Church over here in Waco like 12 years ago. And we've been married for almost 11 years. We got four beautiful little girls, and we live out here in Robinson. And so, just to take you back, I became a Christian when I was 7 years old. I was in timeout. And I guess reflecting on my decisions in life after listening to the sermon that morning, and and the rest is history. I grew up in a household where my parents loved Jesus, and we were in church and involved in ministry. My dad was an elder, and so if you fast forward, I've been in Waco since 2007 in the area, and my sending church, Grace Waco, we were members there for a long time, and in 2019, God called me to be a lay elder, so a volunteer, non-vocational elder. Um, and I spent several years doing that. The call to plant really was not something I woke up one day and said, "Man, I'm just going to go plant a church and I'm going to be the lead guy." It was much more my elders and my community around me basically had the idea before I did, and so the journey was essentially we had a small group meeting in Robinson. People kept moving to Robinson. And so we multiplied that small group with people that moved to Robinson and joined Grace Waco. And so then those conversations about planting a church just kind of kept slowly moving forward. Um, and so it was definitely not a split at all. It was very intentional to go out of Waco and reach Robinson with a local church that can speak as Robinsonites speak and tell the same gospel with the same Bible, but to address the people that I live around and that we were seeing come into our community groups. So just an absolute joy to see how God's moved me into that.
So, I guess a good question would be like, so we have people in our church that have been in church for a very long time, and I'm going to
Yeah,
post this on the internet, and people in your area might see it.
yeah,
What is a church plant? Like, I know this is silly.
sure.
We're not talking about like a little like FICA, right? So, what do you mean when you
Yeah,
say
yeah,
church camp, church camp, church
yeah,
plant?
absolutely. Yeah, so church plant, it kind of comes from that metaphor of the kingdom being like a tree that's planted from a grain from a mustard seed. Um, and so a church plant, we just mean a new church. That's all it means. You could think of it as a baby church. Um, but the church plant language is we're not a church machine, so we're not, going to be manufactured in a year and up and running full steam ahead. It's a plant. It's a very small, slow growing thing that uh, Paul waters and Apollos planted, but God gives the growth, and so that's the plant language. So it's just a new church. Again, not because we had a split in the previous church, but because intentionally that church sacrificed and sent out just some amazing people to be on our core team and plant a new church out here in Robinson because we perceived a need for churches that are going to preach the entire Bible and to preach the Bible as centered around the person and work of Jesus Christ. So yeah, that's not a bad question at all. What is a church plant?
Well, hey, and I got to apologize. I'm getting a ton of texts, and my phone's off, but I don't know how to turn the noise off on my computer. So,
I don't know how to do that either, and mine's doing the same thing. So we'll just roll on.
such is life. All right. And it may not even be playing through on there because I can't hear yours over
No,
here.
I can't hear it, so you're probably good.
All right. Um, so what made you choose? What led you? How did the Lord lead you to, like, there's a lot of lostness all over the place. Why Robinson?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So Katie and I met at Grace Church back in 2014, and we were both in grad school at Baylor, and we were in the same community group, and so we met each other, became friends, got married, and about a year into our marriage, we just moved to Robinson. So we're both from small towns. I'm from East Texas, a small town, and she's from a small town in Wisconsin. And we were living in
Wisconsin.
Waco, Yeah, yeah. She came a long way. We love Waco. We love the area, but we both would just long to be out in the country a little bit. I mean, I live, within walking distance of the fire station in Robinson, so we're not out in the middle of nowhere by any means. But man, we started looking at houses, and we just fell in love with the Robinson area. And this is years before I became even a lay elder. Had zero idea of planting a church ever. And God just moved us out here. We got a nice little starter home, a little small house that we have since moved out of into a bigger one because of our growing family. Again, the four little girls. And so we just basically settled here organically. And then as we were here, God just kept growing the ministry that was around us. Again, starting with Grace Church.
Very cool. And you said you're from East
Yeah.
Texas. Where? I'm an East Texan too.
Yeah, yeah. Man, I'm from Hallsville, Texas. No one knows where that is, so
Hallsville.
I just say Longview area.
Okay, yeah, I
Yeah.
know where Hallsville is. Well, very cool. My wife's a
Yeah.
Longview girl too. She's from White Oak.
Oh. Oh, yeah, yeah. We used to play White Oak in football.
Yeah, y'all way outgrew them, but that's not the point right now. So I'll leave it alone. Um, so y'all planning a church.
Yeah.
What y'all's first Sunday was like a couple weeks ago, right? Or is that wrong?
Well, so we actually planted a couple years ago, believe it or not. Our first Sunday meeting in the schools
Okay,
was what is it? Yeah, 3 Sundays ago. So
I
we planted a
misunderstood
couple
that.
years ago. Huh?
I thought y'all had been building the core group, and
Yeah,
you just launched. I'm sorry, I misunderstood that.
yeah, yeah. So we planted a couple years ago, and we were meeting in the evenings for a couple years. We were renting Robinson Church of Christ, which is actually where I'm at right now. I'm in the office. We still rent. And so we started meeting in the fellowship hall, and then we grew a little bit and started meeting in the worship center up here. And then just a couple months ago, some logistical things happened, and we decided to start meeting in the schools. And so we are now meeting in Robinson Primary School, right here by the park that's right in the middle of town, right by Brookshire's here on 77. And man, it's been great. I mean, God has been so kind to provide like our mobile church gear, and some of our volunteers are just experts at some of this at mobile church stuff. So every week, man, we roll up at like 7:30. We unload the trailer. We set up in the gym from nothing, man. The only thing we use from the school is the projector that's hung, 20 feet up in the air, um, and then tear it all down and put it back in the trailer and do it again.
I've been a part of those. That is a lot of work.
Yeah.
A lot of
Well, and
work.
so when I got to Grace Waco, that's what we were doing. At Grace Waco did not have that building on Bosque. Some of your people at Oak Grove will probably remember the bowling alley that was on Bosque Boulevard, which is now Grace Church. When I got to Grace, we were meeting in the Midway school system in their auditoriums. So, and I've always kind of missed it. So here I am, back to
Well, there
mobile
you
church.
go.
Yeah.
Um, so what does faithfulness look like for you where you're at? Like, I know we all feel like I'm stepping into ministry. I'm
Hmm.
and I'm about to walk in Acts. Like I'm is about to be the next step in Acts. Like I'm it's going to pop off the page. People are going to be just begging for Jesus, and sometimes that happens, and then sometimes it doesn't. And right.
Sure.
So in this season of ministry, even when the work feels slow and
Yeah.
it's a start, what's faithfulness look like?
Yeah. Yeah. It's great. So, when we were launched with uh, SBTC, which is a shared, partner organization that we're both part of, our churches are part of. Some of the training that we did along the way was about the slowness and the difficulty of planting in a rural place. And so Robinson is right up against Waco, but it considers itself, the residents consider themselves to be much more separate and rural. And changes are slow, and trust is slow to build, and all of that. So, I mean, we focused a lot on relational evangelism. We've had four people come to know the Lord Jesus through our ministry out here, that God's doing, and all four have been young men. Two of them with like Muslim backgrounds, one with an
Oh,
atheist
praise the Lord.
background, and one with a prosperity gospel background. That from his own mouth came down here and says he discovered the real Jesus. And so. all of that has been through just relationships and gently but boldly, inviting people to church, talking to them about Jesus. That last one, man, I mean, I met with him in my office almost every week last year in 2025, and we just baptized him in December. And he was the one that said, I came down here thinking I knew Jesus, but I didn't, and not just me, but the church, the ministry of the church and the members and all the things that we're doing and opening the scriptures to him showed him the real Jesus. So God is definitely at work for sure. I've got several stories of guys coming out of addictions and people with church hurt actually coming to hope and finding certainly not a perfect church, obviously, but finding a church that's just trying to be very simple in our just opening the Bible and trying to show people Jesus rather than trying to do something impressive or new. So yeah, it looks like every week, man, I come to this office and I meet with people either here or out in the community and ideally, meeting new people. And when I meet new people, I'm always looking for an opportunity to ask them if I can pray for them or invite them to church or even share the gospel directly. And sometimes, I have those opportunities and I take them. But it's slow. I mean, Robinson's only 13,000 people. Our church has about 50 to 60 people in it and in attendance on a given Sunday. But I'm not a fast moving guy anyway. So I think God put me right where I need to be. But yeah,
Mm,
good
praise the
question.
Lord. So kind of moving into thinking about how we partner. So how does support from a partner church like ours
Yeah.
practically help in a real way what you're doing? And then what are some ways outside of prayer and giving, which we're going to commit to, um,
hmm
could possibly we partner with you guys in the future since you're right down the road.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, sure. So first of all, just thank you. Thank you from Hope Church and from myself for supporting us. I mean, your prayers and financial giving are just super helpful. And so I can start with those. You wouldn't believe how many times I've talked to someone who I know is supporting us and praying for us, and they'll tell me a specific prayer that they've been praying, and I'm able to tell them, oh my gosh, God answered that prayer. Like all of last year, we were praying on how we could start meeting in the mornings. And then, like in October, I got one phone call that just changed all that. And man, people were praying for that. And the elder team was as well. We were. And so God listens to y'all's prayers, over at Oak Grove Baptist Church in China Spring, where your people are living, and He answers those prayers. And so we've seen that enough times to just know that it's going to keep happening. Um, Financially, I mean, we've had the privilege of being financially fairly healthy. Our budget is a little negative, which is super normal for church plants for a few years, and that's where outside funding comes in, man. And so every time able to add a partner, we see that as just God's direct provision.
Mhm.
He's using y'all's generosity and giving from your budget and just putting it into ours. But that's
And
God Himself
church
providing
plants
for His church.
are
Huh?
normal church plants are normally reaching unchurched or
Yeah,
de-churched people. So
yeah,
for our congregation, it's like, well, why are we giving
yeah,
to a congregation that's growing? Well, there's a learning process and a discipleship process, and
yeah,
it takes time to there's lead measures and lag measures, and the lead
yeah,
measures are people, the lag measures is the giving that follows.
yeah, yeah. So, as an example, those four guys that met Jesus through our ministry here at Hope Church, not a single one of them had ever been plugged into a Christian church before.
Mm.
Not a single one of them. One of them has since two of them have since moved away for jobs. One of them started going to the Chinese church actually because he couldn't hardly understand anything. But God still saved him through our ministry, our English ministry over here. And then the last one I just talked about is a healthy member, and he's actually taking over like one of our mobile church categories. So yeah, man, it's exactly right. Church plants tend to attract people who either are de-churched, like they have church hurt in their past, or certainly like the evangelism that we do in church plants attracts the lost. At least that's the hope and the goal, and what we've seen. So yeah, for an established church, man, like you guys to support us. And another component is just again Robinson. In our research that we did and talking to pastors and churches and Christians out here, we haven't been able to find that another church, is preaching the whole counsel of God and preaching it around the person and work of Jesus every single week. And I hate to be divisive at all. It's not the point. But people out here just they need fed. They need to be fed by the Word of God, and that's what we're seeing people hungry for. But for you guys to come in and support a church that's still, we're still getting our legs under us, and trying to get towards that financial stability and sustainability, and then hopefully in another year or two we'll be there, and there will be another outpost of the kingdom here that's, by God's grace and His will, healthy, at least if we can say so ourselves. And but yeah, it's super helpful. And so, man, every time we have another church come on, you guys are the fourth church to come on and support us monthly. Um, and one of the reasons we found, actually, the way we found you guys, you came up to me because you saw my SBC sweatshirt on at that prayer gathering. Um, and so our partnership with SBC, like, the shared partnership we have is how we're connected. Every time I'm able to come back and tell the church, hey, there's another church supporting us, man, my whole congregation just feels, okay, we're not in this alone.
Hmm.
We've got churches that are behind us that have already reached sustainability, and they're stable, and they want people to come to know Jesus out here in our area just as much as in their area, and
And
they're showing us that.
this collective partnership for new churches is
Yeah,
an identity of Baptist, but of the book of
yeah,
Acts. Like
yes,
Antioch is a sending church. Go read the book of
yeah,
Acts, and that they are the model for
yeah,
sending church plants. And
yep,
what we do collaborating with the SBC, the SBTC, the BGCT, all the
hmm,
CTs that we're partnering
yeah,
with is we're collaborating for the furtherance of the gospel because
yeah.
we're not trying to build little kingdoms. We're trying to further
No,
his kingdom.
no. That's exactly right. And so even as we've planted, man, we've got two missionaries in the field and one actually fundraising to go to the field. We've got a partner church in England that we've had since day one who sent us a worship leader, for example. And so we've tried to plant the entire time with this mentality of we're not here to build up the kingdom of Hope Church in Robinson, certainly not my personal kingdom of any kind. Everything we do is to try to multiply. And yeah, our partnerships with the SBC, and with churches like y'all through that partnership, it's all with the same mindset. That's one of the biggest values we've seen. So to go back and answer your question, just to give you a sense for some things we've done outreaches in the park with city events. We attend the little market here in Robinson almost every month, and we've got a family that's attending that we met at that market. Um, and so we've done some similar outreach things, and we'll start doing quite a bit more of that again. We've taken the last couple of months to focus on mobile church. Um, and so, man, yeah, like one of the things I'll do, you're the first church that's in the area with us in Central Texas. The other ones are a couple hours away in the big cities. One of the things I can do is just be thinking about how you and your members, anybody who wants to, can come help support us in some of these events that we can do for outreach. But man, I got to tell you, I think maybe one of the best things you guys can do, and we've had some supporting churches here in Waco do this. They just don't give monthly. You guys are the first one here locally to give monthly. One of the best things you guys can do, and not just you, man, but like every member of your church, since you're in the same county, you guys know friends, family, coworkers. You guys know people not just in Robinson, but on the east side of the interstate. We're one of the only churches in any of our networks and any of our relationships on the east side of the interstate in McLennan County
That's
and even
huge.
surrounding counties. So yeah, like Marlin, Chilton, Axtell, Mart, all these outlying towns that are even further east than us. We've had attenders and members come from outside of Robinson from this east side. And so, man, what I would ask is for all your people, if you guys know of people who are looking for a church, Christians that are looking for a church, or man, if you have someone that's just going through a trial or suffering, I'm here to meet with those people. We have members that are able to meet with people that are in need and help them, and hopefully, bring them into the body of Christ. And so, if you guys can just advocate for us and tell people about Hope Church that are on this side of town. I mean, really, well, from any side of town, but especially the east side of this area. Man, we've had churches do that for us, and we've had people come to know Jesus through those efforts. So. I couldn't express how helpful that can be.
And just this is kind of my last thing. I was talking, me and Bracken were talking for a few minutes before we started recording, and I just got this fresh from the North American Mission Board
Yeah,
demographics report. It's not for his area. It's more, it's closer to our area, but I mean, it's the same. It's going to be the same within a few people probably.
yeah, for sure.
But in in our area, a 20-minute drive of our church. Um,
Hmm.
this is this is this is from the North American Mission Board surveys that they've done. 43% of our community. This is we're in the belt buckle of the Bible Belt, right?
Yep. Hmm.
43% of people who live in our community do not affiliate with any religious group. That's Muslim, Buddhist, anything.
Yeah.
We need more gospel outposts. We need
Yes.
stronger, the ones that
That's right.
exist need to be stronger, and we need more. That's so within a 20-minute drive of our church, Oak Grove, over a it's over 100,000 people. It's a 111,000 people don't affiliate with anything, are atheist agnostic.
Hmm.
They need Jesus.
Yeah.
And, we're trying to reach people here, but on the east side of the
Yeah.
highway,
It's the same thing.
it's the same thing with less gospel outposts than what we have here in China Springs.
Yes, that's right. And it's just what Jesus said, the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. And so we are already right now. I've got guys in the elder training process here at
Praise the
Hope.
Lord.
I've got one in a residency. I got two lined up to go to the residency next year. And one's in our Grace Network discipleship program. And Lord willing, in a few years, we would love to plant another church again, because it's not about building our church; it's about building the kingdom. So yeah, those are very sobering statistics, man, and they're exactly why we're here.
Hey, it's all opportunity.
Yeah, it
So,
is. It's
well,
God's opportunity.
that's
Yeah.
right. We serve a God who can. But
Oh
Bracken,
yeah.
I really, really appreciate your time and Oak Grove Church. This is Bracken, the lead elder, the lead pastor at Grace Church or Hope Church Robinson. So I'm going to
Mhm.
sign off and thank you so much.
Thanks y'all for supporting us. Thanks for the time, man.